Welcome. I'm the Parliament Raven. Pour yourself a cup of tea. My name's Jason Rodriguez, and I'm the Parliament Raven. And today's episode is called The Radiance Within, Developing Your Aura. And this episode's dedicated to the Parliament Fox. You know who you are. Now, have you ever been in a room and your eyes are drawn to somebody? They're not famous. They're not the guest of honor, but something draws everyone to them. It's a presence. It's an aura that's given off that has drawn people to that person. Gen Z literally calls this aura. It's something found in anime and the character just lights up with this power. It's the visual representation is like a glowing aura. And it's part of their new lingo. What we used to call presence is now called aura. Let's unravel today what that means. Today we're going to untangle that. We're going to look at faith. We're going to look at culture. We're going to look at personal transformation and how God has created us to manifest his aura, to reflect the power, the glory, the love, and to draw people to us and to him. And that's important in both business and in life. All right. So how does Generation Z kind of unravel this? Or is something felt by people? It's the energy of a person. It's a vibe, a presence, an atmosphere that they radiate or radiates off of them. It can be confidence, a mystery, intensity, or even an aura of peace. But as I said earlier, it's visualized in anime and pop culture with this bright glow, or sometimes it's a blue glow, or sometimes it's just this light glow. It can be seen in things like lit RPGs as a manifestation of inner power or identity. Moses was like this. When Moses met with God, when he came back, it said his face radiated with the presence of God. I'm going to read here, Exodus 34:29. When Moses came down from Mount Sinai, the skin of his face shone because he had been talking with God. Aura is a manifestation of what's inside you, a visible representation. And he was spending time with God, and that was inside of him. It manifested literally on the outside. Anime has shaped Gen Z's, and I want to say that the millennials' ideas of how we view things, giving visual representation to concepts that Gen X and boomers did not have. You have shows that show this like One Piece, Baki the Grappler, Naruto. An aura is a visual representation of emotional, spiritual resolve, or even internal transformation, as these characters that we watch on the screen that the generations are currently being inundated with show this. You got Luffy's Conquer Hakai, where he learns how to manifest his strength of will, turning his body to iron. You have Baki's aura. Even without fighting, his presence radiates discipline and even danger. And you see that through the entire series. And then in Naruto, you have Sasuke or Itachi, and they radiate it so much so their power of radiation turns into a giant set of armor. It's so weird that people like that visualization. Something you think about as we take this journey is, if you were to see your aura, what color would it be? What would it look like? Would it be red? Would it be green? Would it be like lightsabers? Are there like typical colors? Just a thought. But let's continue on, and let's think about the opposite end of the spectrum, right? There's good, just like there's always good things, there's also bad things. We talked about that in the Star Wars episode all the way back in season 1. And aura does have negative auras. There's people who are definitely you don't want to be around. Matthew talks about this. You have Jesus saying something, you're like whitewashed tombs, beautifully outward, but within you are full of dead people's bones, right? And that's talking to the Sadducees because they were giving off this prediction of we're better than you, but not really living that. There's this aura of haughtiness, but their lives weren't showing what is called tzedakah, which is righteousness, faithfulness, justice, charity to one another, right? It was that greatest love each other as you love yourself. So let's take a look at some negative traits for aura. There's bitterness in the skies of discernment. Someone's bitter, and they say, well, watch out for this. Or they point out things that it looks like discernment, but it comes from bitterness. Manipulation masquerading as leadership. And man, in the business world, this can be seen countless times where people are using manipulation to get employees to do what they want. Whether it's healthy or not healthy for that, manipulation is never a good thing. Whether it be emotional manipulation, whether it be mental manipulation. And we could unravel a whole nother topic on that. Hustle masking spiritual emptiness, where somebody's feeling so empty, they're just driving over and over and over. And I talk a lot about that in coaching. That is your hustle covering up for something, right? You feeling busy or looking busy and feeling successful, but you finally get to that precipice or the top and you're empty. And you have a lot of CEOs and high executives that do feel that way. They have everything that they thought they wanted, but they're empty. And being in complete wholeness, mind, body, and spirit, if that spirit part is empty, everything else just falls apart. And that's where a lot of sickness comes from. That's where a lot of mental diseases come from. The last is pride dressed up as purpose, right? A person can be so proud that they look like they have a purpose. Now, I hate to use this anime because I'm not a fan of it, but Vegeta in Dragon Ball Z was very much that at the beginning of the show. And as he grows as his character, he becomes less prideful, and you see that purpose is definitely hidden by bravado, and everyone gets used to that bravado. Like, this is how he copes with not being the best at all times. So there's traps, right? There's traps on the journey, and there's traps on your journey as you move through and into a greater sense of self-identity and aura, and trying to manufacture presence without deep-rooted transformation and copying someone else's light instead of cultivating your own is definitely a big trap. You want to be like somebody, so you try to copy them, but that's not you. And the most important part, the most valuable part is you being you. We're all created to be different. We're all unique. Snowflakes are unique. I like using that example because under a microscope, you look at snowflakes and they're all different. How do you detox from that? Stillness, meditation, repentance. Repentance means to turn away. Again, it also means to reprogram, to change one's aim. Feedback from people who love God more than they love you. Yes, they're going to love you, but they're going to tell you the truth, the hard truth. Right? They're not yes people. They're not no people. They're just those annoying, truthful people who are going to give it to you straight. And those are very important to have around you. And as always, returning to wisdom and truth. Feed yourself wisdom and truth at all times. And that always works as a good detox. For me, I really like getting into the musical aspect. We talked about that in the soundtrack episode. But for me, getting into worship music when I'm feeling off always resets me. Psalms 51:10 would say, create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit in me. There's that asking you could ask also. That's the last thing. You can ask for that to be thing. That's why spiritually I focus on the Lord. There's that creator aspect. He continually wants to purify and create in a better so I can be closer to him and I can be better towards my fellow siblings on earth. All right, so Bible characters that showed aura. Joshua 1:9, he was commanded to be strong, and he showed strength time and time again on his journey with the Israelites. After taking over Moses, he had to have that aura, and that he didn't have confidence, but he did have that aura of reliance of and wisdom on seeking spiritual help. David had was called a man of valor, a man of war. I'm going to look right here. Prudent in speech, a man of good presence, and the Lord is with him, right? So he had his aura was like he was tough. He had valor. He was very well spoken, and people liked being around David. Because of all those things, he drew people to him. You have Jesus. They were astonished by his teachings, and his words possessed authority. Right? Even as a kid, this is him as a 13-year-old in the synagogue of the temple, or in the temple, and he's talking to these heads of religion at the time of the Jewish faith, and they're awestruck because he's talking with such authority and knowledge. And that's actually a trick that you learn in communication class, but there was real authority there. Instead of just talking with authority, he actually had the authority to back it up. And when you seek knowledge and wisdom, and you get that in your head and you get that in your soul, you're able to talk from an authority of knowledge and wisdom. And people are drawn to that. People need knowledge and wisdom. That's the whole reason the Parliament's together, is to cultivate knowledge and wisdom in our life, in our walk together, in our journeys as we go out and quest in the world. Last but not least is Stephen. And Stephen, they saw in his face the look of an angel. Even in death, his aura was like earth-shattering. This guy was just producing and pushing off love that was so beyond that it caused people to question as he was getting murdered as a martyr. And if you don't know Stephen, he was the first martyr after Jesus left. He was stoned to death. Horrible death, but he didn't look like he was even having a bad time, which is, talking about being a Sigma. So let's keep going. Entrepreneurs and leadership of today who have aura. Steve Jobs, he exuded simplicity, certainty, visionary intensity. He had Brene Brown, vulnerability and strength, emotional clarity, right? You have Jordan B. Peterson, intellectual intensity, telling the truth. The man sits down and he radiates aura. The man walks on stage as someone who sat down in a presentation with Jordan B. Peterson where he was presenting ideas. The man commands the stage with the presence of authority and truth and knowledge from experience, of well thought out ideals and conjectures that have led to solutions and new ideas, or maybe ideas that haven't been so new but brought to the forefront for us to think about. Lastly, you have Mother Teresa. She had a peaceful authority, right? I talked about that aura of peace, and that she just drew people to her love and her ability to pull people. She had a sense of authority. She ran a whole ministry to take care of people in Calcutta. And she went from being a ballerina to a nun to taking care of very sick people. And it's amazing the impact she had on people in the world with just being a peaceful, diligent servant to all. Right? In life and relationships, you are perceived and received, or what you perceive and receive in your presence will draw people to you. And we'll talk more about that with your tribe and your vibe. But your friends, your partner, your clients, you feel your spiritual and emotional presence. I once was told while some people were hanging at my house that it was just so peaceful, and I like having that aura at my place. And I continue to try to foster that aura of peace when people come into my house, whether we're playing games, whether we're just talking. I like people having the ability to come, relax, and just feel like there's no weight when you come. Places even have aura too. It's a good point that I didn't even realize when I was writing this outline, is that places themselves have auras. You have places that feel dark, you have places that feel light, you have places that feel fun, you have places that feel anxious, and you'll walk into them and you may not be feeling that, and then you hit that aura and that aura just washes over you and you take that on. You really should shake that off, right? Unless it's good. Yeah, we want positive emotional and things that push us forward in growth. Coaching clients are drawn not to just words, but peace, clarity, my story, the ability to feel where they're going and growing based on their presence and perceptions that they give. So you're not born with a fixed aura. It's formed through time in the Word, getting discipled or mentioned or mentored, healing and repentance, growing maturity, focus, dedication. These things build that sense of aura that you push out. Confidence is key. Identity is the root of this, right? Proverbs says, but the path to righteousness is like the dawn, which shines brighter and brighter until full day. It's like the ancient writers of wisdom, in this case Hebrew writers, knew that there was this presence, this aura that is to be developed, which shines brighter and brighter until full day. Arise and shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon you. Isaiah 61, verse 1. Practical ways to grow your aura: solitude. We talked about meditation, sharpening who you are and what you do with others who are doing it well. Speak less, listen more. Reflect with God, and reflect not on yourself. There's a time for self-reflection, and it's smaller than reflecting on everything else. All right, so final challenge. Let's end this journey through training of aura. The challenge I'm going to have, I want you to ask yourself, this is your weekly challenge, here we go. What do you radiate? Dan Tacchini once said, what do you want people to get from you? Man, I quote Dan Tacchini a lot. I'm going to have to get him on here. Would you like to grow in peace, or would you like to grow in confidence? Where do you want to grow? So what do you radiate, and where do you want to grow on what you radiate? So that's it. Thank you for stopping in. Pour yourself another cup of tea. Remember, your aura isn't hype. It isn't fashion or tone or trend. Aura is what you radiate to the world and what draws people to you. And until next time, I'm the Parliament Raven.
Like, subscribe, leave a good comment. Thanks for visiting the Parliament. If you want to know about Gravitas coaching, please visit gravitas.co. It's also where we host the Parliament.
Join the conversation on Facebook at the Parliament Raven Podcast.
Last but not least, the intro and outro music credits. Intro music by Russ Budgeon and outro music by Sarnav Aravistov.